Good morning, class 8. This is Miss Yurai, and today we are starting with a new chapter, that is rotation and revolution of the earth. And in this chapter, we will be discussing about the rotation and revolution, definitely, but we will be discussing about the effects of rotation and revolution, as well as the Coriolis force. So, in the ancient times, people observed the movement of the heavenly bodies, especially the sun and the moon, and then uh, it made them believe that the sun and the moon were moving around the earth, which was stationary. But that was actually because of the apparent movement. It gives us an impression that the earth is stationary, or we living in the earth is stationary. Okay, apparent meaning the obvious movement of the sun. It gives us the impression, or it produces an effect in the mind that the earth is stationary. And Nicholas Copernicus, he broke that myth that earth is stationary, and that was for the first time. And who exactly was Nicholas Copernicus? He was a Polish astronomer, okay, and he belonged to the 16th century, and he was the first person who broke that myth that the earth was stationary and the sun and the moon were the sun was it was revolving around the earth. Okay, then we do not realize the earth is constantly in movement. Okay, we do not have that realization that the earth is constantly in movement. That is because number one is we are moving along with the earth. Okay, so we do not feel that rotation of the earth or revolution of the earth. That's because we are moving along with the earth. Say, for example, as we are traveling in a vehicle, what we see is the things that are outside the vehicle, it seems to be moving. In a similar manner, we are on the earth's surface, so earth is moving, and we are moving along with the earth at the same speed as the earth. So we do not realize that the things that are outside, they are not moving, but actually it is we on the earth who is moving. Second one is, we all know that sun, it rises in the morning in the east and reaches its highest point during the midday, and it sets in the west. So that is all because of the celestial body. It appears to be moving on account of relativity of motion. Okay, that is relativity of the motion between the sun and the earth. So that's why we feel that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Then the third one is, celestial body are held together on space by gravity. So there are many heavenly bodies, and those heavenly bodies are in constant movement. Okay, they are in constant movement, but they are kept in their orbit. That's because of the gravitational force with respect to one another. Okay, or sometimes the earth's gravitational force also, it holds the moon as well as the artificial satellites that are there around the earth's surface. There are two types of movement of the earth. Those are rotation and revolution, and we'll deal with it one by one. Now the rotation and revolution. Okay, so what exactly is rotation? It's the movement of the earth on its axis. When the earth is moving on its axis, that is once in 24 hours, and it is causing day and night, this is known as rotation. And what exactly is revolution? When the earth is revolving or moving around the sun in 365 and 1/4 days, then we call it revolution. So these movements that are there, these movement meaning the rotation and revolutions that are there, it affects the type of plant that is there on the earth's surface. The type of animal present on the earth's surface is decided by this two movement, that is rotation and revolution. Because of the rotation and revolution, the earth does not receive equal amount, every places on the earth does not receive equal amount of heat. Okay, sun's energy is not received equally by different places of the earth's surface because of rotation and revolution. So the various part of the earth's surface, they receive a different amount of heat. So because of it, what is happening, there's a variation in temperature as well. So heat is obviously related to temperature. If there is lesser amount of heat, obviously the temperature is less. So that temperature, it also affects the climate. So when we say the various elements of climate, temperature is a very important element of climate. So when temperature is less or more, climate is obviously affected, and when climate is affected, at that time a vegetation of that area, atmospheric pressure of that area is also affected to a great extent. Now we will deal with rotation. Okay, so we all know what rotation is. It's the movement of the earth on its axis, and it takes 24 hours, it is said. But the actual time that is taken by rotation, it's not 24 hours, but it's actually 23 hours 55 minutes 4.09 second. And this time taken by the earth to rotate on its axis, it is known as the sidereal day, and it is determined by the stars. Okay, then we have the circle of illumination. What exactly a circle of illumination is, while rotating on its path, what is happening, one part of the earth's surface, it is exposed to the daylight, another part is in darkness. That line which divides the part which is lighted and part which is dark, that line, it is known as the circle of illumination. Now the effects of speed of rotation. So now what first point is, all moving object is deflected due to the Coriolis force. So what exactly is the Coriolis force? It is the force that is generated because of the rotational movement of the earth. So that is the Coriolis force, and this Coriolis force that is there, it helps in deflecting all the moving object that is there on the surface of the earth, like the ocean current and the wind, towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere. And second point is, anticyclone and cyclone are also deflected, since cyclone and anticyclone are also the wind system. Okay, that is why cyclone and anticyclone is also deflected because of the speed of rotation. Then the last one, it affects the pressure belt and movement of the air. So it affects the pressure belt, as well as it is affecting the pressure belt, obviously the movement of the air on the earth's surface is also affected. Apart from it, the bulging at the equator and the flattening of the poles is also because of the different speed of rotation of the earth. Now we will deal with the effects of rotation. Okay, so the effects of rotation, first point is, rotation causes day and night. So rotation, it is an important criteria which causes day and night. So while rotating, what is happening, a part of the earth that is facing the sun experiences day, and the other part, it experiences night. Second one is variation of temperature. Okay, there's variation or there's difference in temperature, that because of the rotation, because the part of the earth that is receiving the sun's ray during the daytime, it is accumulating the heat. Okay, it is collecting the heat during the day, and that heat raises the temperature of the daytime. While at night, what happens is, terrestrial radiation is taking place. So because of it, the land surface which has its heat stored is now slowly losing the heat, so the land has become cold. Now the night is very cold. Rising and setting of the sun. Okay, sun, we all know sun rises in the east and sets in the west, but that is an illusion. because actually it's the earth which is moving, it's not the sun which is moving. Sun is stationary, and like I've already explained to you, when you're sitting in a vehicle and then the vehicle is moving, at that time we feel that the things that is outside the vehicle, it is moving, but in actuality, what is it? It is we who are moving. Similarly, it seems as if the sun is rising in the east and setting in the west, but actually it's the earth which is moving from west to east. Next one is bulging at the equator and flattening at the pole. Sorry, here bulging at the equator is not written. Okay, the shape of the earth that is bulging at the equator and flattening at the poles is basically because of the Coriolis force of the rotation of the sun. The alternate rise and fall in the ocean waves occur twice in 24 hours. That's because of rotation. Okay, and the high tide and the low tide is also caused because of the rotation of the earth. Now we are going to deal with the term Coriolis effect. Okay, and the Coriolis effect, it was first described by the French scientist by the name Gustave Coriolis in 1835, and deflection of the wind due to Coriolis force, it is known as the Coriolis effect. And the Coriolis force it is generated because of the rotation of the earth on its axis. And the next point is Coriolis force occurs due to centrifugal force. That means the Coriolis force that is there, it is occurring because of the centrifugal force. That is the force that is directed away from the axis. Force that is directed away from the axis when the rotation is taking place, that is known as centrifugal force, and Coriolis effect is occurring because of it. And the last one, that is the centripetal force. So in order to balance the centrifugal force, that is the force that is diverting away from the poles or away from the axis, that force, it is known as the centripetal force. That means the force that is coming towards the axis. Okay, class, it this is all for today. I will be continuing in the next class, in the next presentation. Please go through the chapter, study well, and stay home, stay safe. Thank you.